Hello and welcome to MLB 22 The Show. Baseball is returning to the channel. Well, at least returning in a sense of I'm doing baseball again. And yes, we are starting our franchise mode. It was a very tough choice this year for a franchise mode team for MLB, but I thought there was no better team to do than the Texas Rangers, who just signed two-star players, are kind of getting towards the end of the rebuild, maybe still have a couple years left in the rebuild. They're not at the rock bottom like some teams like the Orioles or the Rockies, but just a team that's ready to contend pretty soon, and I think they're on the right track. And with just a few moves, and also a big thing for me with the Rangers was their prospect pool is absolutely freaking stacked. The MLB just released their top prospects list I think last week. Top 100 got released, and the Rangers had just so many players jump up. The Rangers had like one of the most improved prospect pools in the entire league. I think they jumped from like 20 to like 11 or 10 in the prospect pool now. So the Rangers have a very good prospect pool, and the Rangers, they're just so close to contention. I'd say they're probably a year out from being a playoff team, and probably about 2 years out from being a World Series contender if they make the right moves in terms of, because now the front office in Texas is ready to spend. Another reason I wanted to do the Rangers, that guy right there, Marcus Semien, who we just signed. He's an absolute stud with the Blue Jays last year, had an incredible season. Semien did. The Rangers got him over to be the second baseman. So now we have the guy Marcus Semien here to help be that franchise player and lead the Rangers back to the promised land. Rangers are one of a few teams that have never won a World Series. So yeah, there's Marcus Semien. He's got really good hitting stats, of course. A potential 98 overall right now. Good hitting stats. In terms of his MLB career stats, he's been a very good hitter, hitting in the 300s for most of his really insanely good years, and that's what you want to see out of Marcus Semien. He's been a fairly consistent player. Had probably his best season of his career with the Blue Jays last year. Just an incredible year for Marcus Semien in general, going to the Blue Jays and earning that big contract. Definitely deserves it. He's been just overall his whole career a very consistent hitter, and his fielding has definitely gotten better, but at second base, you can never ask for something better than Marcus Semien. So he is going to be the one leading our team at 98 overall right now. And then we look at, there's Marcus Semien once again, and then we get to Corey Seager, the other star player the Rangers signed in the offseason. Now, Corey Seager, the Dodgers shortstop, has won a World Series. He knows how to win, and he's the next other franchise player we signed to a longer contract. He's an 83 overall right now. I think the game kind of underrates him just a little bit. He had a good season last year, batting in the 300s. So, he has a potential. He's fairly young, so he's 27. So hopefully if he has a good season, and we want him to grow, obviously, I think he'll be a really good hitter for us. So Semien and Seager are the guys we're going to be building around, and I think these two guys can definitely get us into the playoffs pretty soon, and hopefully have us in the World Series fairly quickly in this series. But yes, there's Corey Seager. There's the contract that he signed. Pretty significant money both to Seager and Semien. And then the Rangers recently acquired in a trade from the Minnesota Twins catcher Mitch Garver, which I thought was a pretty good trade for the Rangers with a lot of upside. He's an 85 overall catcher with deep potential. 31 still, he's got some good years left, but Garver just hasn't been able to stay healthy in his MLB career so far. But I mean, the hitting, when you have a catcher with this good of a hitting upside, you pull the trigger on it all the time. It's really hard to find elite hitting catchers, and when Garver is healthy, he has one of the best offensive catchers in the game, and that's just an added boost to a lineup that could use some very top-heavy guys, including what Mitch Garver brings. And the Rangers did not give up a lot to get him, so I think it's a very good upside trade for this Rangers club. Then you get to the outfield, and you have Adolis Garcia. Last year, a very old rookie. I think he's like 28 or 29 years old, but he had a very good year last year, batting like 245, I think. Had like 30 home runs. He was very fun to watch. One of the bright spots. Could have easily won AL Rookie of the Year. He's an 81 overall right now, but he's got good potential, so that could easily grow. He's 29, so he's still got, if you have him for another 5 or 6 seasons, he easily could grow and become one of our good depth hitters when it comes to being in contention for a playoff spot if we try to build around this roster. Then we get to the pitching, and this is where the problem comes in for this Rangers club, and why I'm going to have so much trouble getting us to the promised land, because The pitching, the MLB pitching is just not good. It's just not good. It's really bad. They don't have a lot of good pitchers in the MLB currently right now. The pitching is horrendous. You have John Gray, who's gonna be your starter, along with some of the other 70 overalls in the bullpen. The bullpen is horrendous, and that's the big problem. But the biggest reason why I chose the Rangers, this man right here, Jack Leiter from Vanderbilt, the elite pitching prospect, a potential. He is going to be so good. He is the future ace of the rotation, and he is just going to be one of the best pitchers probably in the MLB very soon, ranked in the top 20 in MLB's top 100 prospect list. And Jack Leiter, he's 71 overall already at 21. Vanderbilt, he's got 4 good pitches, good velocity on that. He's just going to be, he's the future ace. That's who he is. And then this other guy right here, Josh Jung, third baseman, the other Rangers' top prospect, the future third baseman of the Rangers. The Rangers haven't had really good third baseman since Adrian Beltre retired, and Josh Jung is going to be that guy. 70 overall, probably about one more season for him in the minors before he could come up and play him. And we could play him this year if we want to, but I think we're going to let him play in the minors one more year to grow. Also, Cole Winn, another potential starting pitcher. He is going to be very good as well. Exciting for him to come up, and him and Jack Leiter are definitely going to be your 1 and 2 starters hopefully in the future. Glenn Otto, another solid starting pitcher prospect who the Rangers got in the Joey Gallo trade. He could be another 3-4 guy in the rotation hopefully soon, or even a trade piece. So that's, and then we have Sam Huff here, a catcher with good potential. He's getting a little bit older, but still has some upside for a potential trade, or even if we can get him to grow and eventually have him come replace Mitch Garver in the MLB. The Rangers' first baseman prospect, you got Dustin Harris here, another potential guy who has some good upside, can play the corner infielders, good size, he's still pretty young. Nathaniel Lowe, who had a really good year last year for the Rangers, that potential. He's 26, so he's not super old yet, so he's still got some time to hopefully if he has a good season, he can grow, maybe become a good depth or bench player, or even just a good trade piece with that potential. Justin Forsythe, potential guy, 62 overall, another solid prospect for the Rangers. Ezekiel Duran, another prospect the Rangers got in that Joey Gallo trade. He just got moved into the top 100 prospects for the Rangers, and he's a potential, 69 overall. He could be up very soon. Josh Smith as well, another really good player that the Rangers got in their prospect pool. He could play second, third base, as well as some other positions, and he's just a very solid player, another good prospect, very young. Nick Solak as well, Steele Walker, Willie Calhoun, these are just some guys in the prospect pool. There's C potential, B potential, but Solak is getting a little bit older. He hasn't really developed the way I think the Rangers wanted him. He's still a solid bench piece. He's a utility player. Willie Calhoun has been injured a lot of his career, so he hasn't really gotten the chance to do what he wants. Bubba Thompson's a good prospect as well, along with there's Adolis Garcia. Again, looking at his stats, Adolis, I think, is definitely a player that I want to pay attention to, because if he does not fit the timeline, he could definitely be a trade candidate for us. But I want to give Adolis the chance to be able to play for the Rangers in the MLB for a while, but he could always become a trade piece if he doesn't fit the timeline. But I like Bubba Thompson too as a prospect. Leody Tavares is a good one as well, but Bubba Thompson, potential guy, 23, pretty young. He's a center field prospect. Leody Tavares, 23, 71 overall, a very good defensive player in the outfield, but just not that good of a hitter yet. Cole Calhoun as well, C potential guy. So he might get a little bit better, but you just don't know yet. Brian Lora, the Rangers, we really lack depth in the outfield when it comes to our prospects. Our outfield definitely is our weakest part of our team when it comes to prospects and just overall positionship. So that's really what I'm going to be looking to in this upcoming draft with a high pick, is we're going to be looking to improve the outfield. We really need a top outfield prospect, because we do not have really any top outfield prospects right now. But yeah, that is the Rangers franchise mode. Welcome to the Rangers franchise. I'm super excited to do the series for y'all. And yeah, in the next video, we're going to get into the first part of the season. So yeah, if you're excited, welcome to Texas.